When I lost my job, my wife laughed and told her friends, "He's not a man anymore. I'll give him a month before I leave his broke ass." When I asked my parents for help, my dad snorted, "A real man wouldn't beg." My mom just shook her head. I smiled and left. That day, 6 years later, they showed up at my door, desperate and calling me nonstop. I should have known something was off when Loretta started doing her makeup before going to work. She'd never bothered with that, just mascara and lip gloss most days. But 3 weeks ago, she started getting up earlier, spending almost an hour in the bathroom. When I asked about it, she just said she was trying to look more professional. That morning started like any other. I was scrolling through Instagram while waiting for my coffee to brew when my phone buzzed. A text from HR asking me to come in early for a meeting. No explanation, just urgent discussion needed. My stomach dropped, but I told myself it was probably about that promotion I'd been gunning for. I kissed Loretta goodbye. She barely looked up from her phone, just mumbled, "See you later," without meeting my eyes. Again, I ignored the warning signs. The HR lady's face told me everything before she even opened her mouth. 2 other managers were there, including my direct supervisor Braden, all wearing those practiced sympathetic expressions. Then came the words that turned my world upside down: inappropriate behavior, multiple complaints, creating a hostile environment. I sat there stunned as they laid it out. Apparently, several female coworkers had reported me for making suggestive comments and unwanted advances. It was complete bullshit. I barely talked to anyone at work besides my immediate team, but they had detailed reports, dates, specific incidents, all fabricated, but convincing enough on paper. "We have to terminate your employment immediately," the HR lady said, sliding a severance package across the table. Braden wouldn't even look at me. I tried to defend myself, but they'd already made up their minds. Security was waiting to escort me out. As I packed up my desk, hands shaking, pieces started falling into place. The whispered conversations that stopped when I walked by, the way some coworkers had started avoiding me. Loretta's sudden interest in looking good. My stomach churned as I realized how long this had been in the works. I tried calling Loretta on my drive home, straight to voicemail. I checked our joint account on my phone, empty. All $43,000 we'd saved, gone. Transfer made yesterday to an account I didn't recognize. She was home when I got there, calmly packing a suitcase. "Took you long enough," she said, not even pretending to be surprised. "What the hell is going on?" I demanded. "Those complaints, did you have something to do with this?" She laughed. Actually laughed. "You really are slow, aren't you? I've been planning this for months. Everyone at your office thinks you're a creep now. Good luck finding another job in this town." "Why?" My voice cracked. "Why would you do this to me?" "Because you're pathetic," she spat. "Working the same dead-end job for 5 years. No ambition, no spine. You're not a man anymore." Her smile turned cruel. "Braden, though, he's going places and I'm going with him." The room spun. "Braden. My supervisor. Braden. For 6 months now," she said, zipping up her suitcase. "He knows how to take what he wants. Unlike you." I sank onto the couch, trying to process the magnitude of the betrayal. She'd not only been cheating with my boss but had systematically destroyed my reputation and career. "Don't bother calling your parents," she added, heading for the door. "I already told them everything about your inappropriate behavior. They're disgusted with you. Check the account. They've already pulled their investment in our house renovation." She was right. When I desperately called my parents, my dad answered with, "We raised you better than this." My mom was crying in the background. They wouldn't even let me explain, just said they needed time to process the disappointment I'd become. That night, I slept in my car in a Walmart parking lot. The house was in Loretta's name, another thing she'd insisted on that I'd stupidly agreed to. No money, no job, no home, no family. She'd taken everything. But as I lay there, watching trucks rumble past in the darkness, something hardened inside me. The hurt and shock crystallized into pure, cold rage. Loretta thought she'd broken me, turned me into nothing. She'd taken everything I had, but she'd forgotten something crucial. She'd left me with nothing left to lose. I opened my notes app and started planning. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Loretta, Braden, my parents, they all thought I was weak, pathetic, spineless. I was going to show them just how wrong they were. They wanted me to be the villain in their story? Fine. I'd give them a villain they'd never forget. Update 1. I never thought I'd be that guy, sleeping in his car behind a 24-hour gym. But here I was. After 3 nights of this hell, my old friend Gavin finally caught wind of my situation through mutual friends. His message was simple: get your ass over here. Guest room's yours as long as you need it. Walking into his place that night, the reality of everything hit me. My clothes stuffed in 2 duffel bags, laptop, and some basic toiletries, that's what my life had come down to. Gavin didn't ask questions, just handed me a beer and said, "When you're ready to talk, I'm here." It took me a week to get the whole story out: Loretta's betrayal, the affair with Braden, the emptied accounts, my parents turning their backs on me. Everything. Gavin listened, got angry on my behalf, but then said something that stuck. "You're not broken. You're just starting over. And this time, you're doing it smarter." I picked up 2 jobs, back-breaking work during the day and bartending at nights. Every shift felt like a step away from rock bottom. The physical exhaustion helped keep the anger at bay most days, anyway. Then came the day I overheard some regulars talking about a new business opening up downtown. I nearly dropped the glass I was wiping when I heard Loretta's name. My hands were shaking as I pulled up Facebook on my break. There it was, her smiling face next to Braden, announcing their engagement and her new business venture. The comments section was full of congratulations, including one from my own mother about how proud she was of her future daughter-in-law. I called my sister that night. She'd been the only one still talking to me, though quietly to avoid our parents' disapproval. What she told me made my blood run cold. Mom and Dad invested their retirement savings in Loretta's business. All of it. $175,000. The next morning I started digging. Not because I wanted to, I had to. These were my parents, even if they turned their backs on me. The pieces started coming together. Loretta had been planning this for months. The rumors about me at work, the affair with Braden, emptying our accounts. It was all calculated. She needed startup capital, and my parents' retirement fund was her target. Some nights, I'd lie awake in Gavin's guest room, my mind racing. The old me would have confronted her directly, probably made a scene. But something had changed in me during those nights in my car. I'd learned patience. Every time I wanted to explode, I'd remember how she laughed when I confronted her about the affair. "You're not a man anymore." Those words became my fuel. I started keeping a journal of everything I discovered: dates, times, bank transfers, screenshots of messages, anything that showed the pattern. People loved to talk to bartenders, and I heard things, like how Braden had done this before at his last job, how Loretta was already talking about expanding the business before it even opened, using my parents' money as proof of her success to other investors. The breaking point came when I saw my dad at the grocery. He looked 10 years older, shoulders slumped, checking prices on everything. He didn't see me, but I saw him put back a package of his favorite cookies, choosing the store brand instead. My mother used to buy those for him every week. That night, I threw up in Gavin's bathroom, rage and guilt mixing in my gut. Then the local paper came out with the announcement: local entrepreneur opens dream business. There was Loretta, standing in front of her new shop, talking about building something from nothing and the support of her wonderful future in-laws. The photo showed my parents at the opening, trying to smile but looking worried around the edges. I folded that newspaper carefully and added it to my journal. Not because I needed more evidence, I had plenty, but because sometimes you need to hit rock bottom to realize you're not actually falling anymore. You're getting ready to push back up. Looking at that article, something clicked. Loretta thought she'd won because she'd taken everything. But she'd forgotten the most important thing she'd given me: freedom. I had nothing left to lose. And that made me dangerous. Not in a violent way. I was done letting her make me the bad guy. I was going to do this smart, legal, and most importantly, I was going to make sure everyone saw exactly who she was. I closed my journal and opened my laptop. Time to start sharing some stories of my own. It started with a WhatsApp message, just one screenshot sent anonymously to Kelly, Braden's wife. A single conversation between Loretta and Braden discussing their weekend plans while I was supposedly at my friend's place. Seeing that message get marked as read felt like lighting a fuse. Working at Danny's bar gave me exactly what I needed. Gossip travels fast in a small town, especially when alcohol is involved. I didn't even have to try hard, just a casual mention here and there about how my ex-wife was now with my old supervisor. People filled in the blanks themselves, especially the regulars who had seen me working double shifts to make ends meet after losing everything. "Did you hear about that new boutique opening up on Mason Street?" one of the regulars asked, nursing his beer. "Owner, that woman who stole her husband's savings and ran off with his boss." The story spread like wildfire through neighborhood Facebook groups and local forums. Every time Loretta posted about her business on social media, the comments section filled with thinly veiled references to her affair. Kelly showed up at Danny's one night, mascara streaked down her face. "Is it true?" she demanded, slamming her phone on the bar. More screenshots. More evidence. All those late meetings and business trips suddenly made sense to her. I just poured her a drink and listened. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words. Braden's perfect life crumbled within weeks. His kids stopped talking to him. His church group quietly asked him to step down from leadership. The mortgage on their new house suddenly felt a lot heavier on a single income. I was restocking the bar when Loretta first tried calling. Then came the texts, "You've ruined everything. Why are you doing this to me? Braden left me because of you. Your parents are going to lose everything." That last one was supposed to hurt, I guess. But watching their investment in Loretta's foolproof business plan go up in smoke felt like justice. The same parents who told me to man up when I lost everything were now facing foreclosure. Funny how karma works. The boutique's grand opening was a disaster. Word had spread about Loretta's reputation, and in our town, reputation is everything. Local vendors pulled out last minute. The few customers who showed up were mostly there to whisper and stare. The local newsletter, which had originally planned a feature story, quietly dropped it. Braden came to the bar one night, drunk and angry. "You planned this," he slurred, pointing a shaky finger at me. "You destroyed my family." The irony was almost funny. Almost. I just called him a ride and went back to wiping down glasses. My phone buzzed constantly with messages from my parents. Their retirement savings were gone. The house they'd lived in for 30 years was slipping away. They wanted to talk things through, fix things, find a solution as a family. Delete. 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 Loretta's boutique limped along for another month before the going out of business signs went up. She tried rebranding, dropping prices, everything. But in a small town, once people turn against you, that's it. Game over. The last time I saw her that month, she was standing outside the empty shop, staring through the window at the bare mannequins. The sight didn't give me the satisfaction I'd expected. Instead, I felt nothing. And somehow, that felt better than revenge. My parents left another voicemail. "Please, son. We were wrong. We need your help." I saved that one. Not because I planned to help, but because sometimes it's nice to have a reminder of how far you've come. The boutique's windows were papered over by the end of the week. Loretta's dream of being a successful businesswoman died with a whimper, not a bang. No dramatic showdown. No big confrontation. Just the quiet death of reputation and trust. My regulars at the bar still sometimes bring up the story. It's become local legend, a cautionary tale about karma and consequences. But I don't engage anymore. I've got better things to focus on. The last text I got from Loretta read, "I know you're behind all this, but you can't prove it, can you? You calculated everything perfectly." I didn't respond. Sometimes silence is the best revenge. Besides, I was too busy checking out properties at the upcoming foreclosure auction. I heard there might be some interesting opportunities coming up. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. But I've learned it's best served by just stepping back and letting people face the consequences of their own actions. The domino effect takes care of the rest. As I locked up the bar that night, I deleted the last traces of their messages from my phone. Tomorrow would bring new opportunities, new beginnings, and for some, new consequences. Some people call it revenge. I call it karma. Either way, I sleep just fine at night. Final update. After 2 years of patient waiting, everything finally started falling into place. I hadn't planned it this way, but sometimes karma works in beautiful ways. I was scrolling through Facebook when I saw Loretta's urgent business announcement post. Her little boutique was closing permanently, not just closing, but being seized by creditors. All that talk about her entrepreneurial vision and redefining local retail had amounted to exactly what I'd expected, a spectacular failure. The comments section was brutal. Maybe if you'd focused more on running your business instead of sleeping with married men. Someone had even tagged Braden's ex-wife, who'd added a laughing emote. I won't lie, I screenshotted that entire thread. My phone buzzed, Mom's third call today. I let it go to voicemail just like the previous 12 this week. The messages were all the same anyway. They were about to lose the house, they needed help, they were sorry. The last part was new. I'll give them that. Funny how, sorry, only came after the foreclosure notice. You're not a real man, Dad had said when I'd asked them for help 2 years ago, sleeping in my car after Loretta cleaned out our accounts. Now they wanted their son back. The irony wasn't lost on me. The auction was yesterday. I didn't tell anyone I was going, just showed up in my regular clothes, hands in my pockets, looking like any other curious neighbor. Mom and Dad were there too, huddled in the back, looking smaller than I remembered. They didn't see me until I won the bid. The look on their faces when I raised my bidding card for the final time. That moment alone was worth every penny of the down payment. Dad's face turned an interesting shade of purple. Mom started crying. I just stood there, filling out the paperwork, not even glancing their way. They cornered me in the parking lot afterward. Dad tried to puff up his chest like he used to. Son, we can work something out. A real man wouldn't beg, right? I cut him off, echoing his words from 2 years ago. That's what you told me. Or does that rule only apply when I'm the one asking for help? Mom grabbed my arm, mascara running down her cheeks. Please, Bryce. We're your parents. My parents. I corrected her. The eviction notice goes out tomorrow. You have 30 days. Dad exploded. After everything we've done for you. Like investing my college fund in Loretta's business venture behind my back? I stayed calm, which only made him angrier. Like telling everyone in the family I was lying about her affair? They kept talking, but I just walked away. Their voices faded behind me, joining all the other noise I'd learned to tune out. The next week, I rented their house to a young family with 3 kids, good people struggling to find something affordable in this market. I gave them a rate well below market value, just to twist the knife a little deeper. Mom saw them moving in. She drove by 6 times that day. I know because the security cameras I installed caught every pass. But the real cherry on top, I found out Loretta's working at O'Neill's now, the same bar where I used to tend when I was rebuilding my life. She started last week, desperately needed the job after her business went under. The universe has a sense of humor sometimes. I took my girlfriend there last night. Didn't plan it, honestly. Sarah wanted to try their new menu, and who was I to say no? Loretta was our waitress. The look on her face when she recognized me, priceless. She tried to get another server to take our table, but they were short-staffed. What can I get you? Her voice was barely above a whisper. I didn't even look up from the menu, just ordered my food like she was any other server. Any other stranger. Sarah, bless her heart, had no idea who Loretta was. I never talk about that chapter of my life anymore. We enjoyed our dinner, laughed, shared dessert. Left a decent tip, because hey, I'm not a monster. As we were leaving, I heard Loretta's manager scolding her about a messed up order. She was on thin ice, apparently. I walked past without a glance, holding Sarah's hand, feeling the weight of my house keys in my pocket. Keys to the home where my parents had lived for 30 years. Some people say revenge doesn't bring peace. Maybe they're right. But watching Loretta scramble to carry plates while wearing the same cheap polyester uniform I once wore, seeing my parents' belongings piled up in their sister's garage, peace was never the goal. The young family in my parents' old house sent me pictures yesterday. They're painting the kitchen yellow, planting a garden where mom's prized roses used to be. Life moves on. Sometimes it moves exactly where you want it to. Tomorrow, Sarah's taking me to meet her parents. They're good people from what I can tell. But this time, I know better than to trust family just because they're family. This time, I keep my own accounts, my own spaces, my own escape routes. And if anyone ever tells me I'm not a real man again, well, let's just say I've learned how to prove them wrong.